That call came at 2 a.m., the kind of hour when secrets spill out because the darkness makes them feel less heavy. I'd been staring at the ceiling of my cramped Capitol Hill apartment, the one with the leaky faucet that dripped like a metronome to my insomnia, when my phone buzzed. Elias Voss, my boss, the man who ran Vostech like a fortress, all steel and silence, where smiles were as rare as sunshine in this godforsaken city. I'd worked under him for 2 years, crunching code in the glow of dual monitors, pretending his Arctic stares didn't burrow into my chest like frostbite. He was 35, broad-shouldered and impeccably tailored, with salt and pepper hair cropped military short and eyes like smoked quartz, unreadable, unyielding. The kind of guy who made boardrooms quake and interns weep. But to me, he was just the shadow over my cubicle, the reason I double-checked every line of code before hitting submit. I answered on the 3rd ring, my voice gravel from lack of sleep. Mr. Voss? Everything okay? Silence stretched, broken only by the patter of rain against my window. Then low and clipped, no, it's not. My sister's wedding is in 3 days. Ridge Valley, Maine. Family expects me to bring someone. A partner. Another pause, heavier this time, like he was chewing glass. I need you to be that someone. I sat up so fast the room spun, my heart slamming against my ribs. Fake date? Me? The guy who coded payroll glitches at midnight and nursed crushes on baristas who never called back? Aiden Harper, 28 and still fumbling through grinder swipes that led nowhere, suddenly cast as arm candy for the Voss dynasty? It was absurd, a punchline from one of those indie flicks where the underdog gets the plot twist. But Elias's tone brooked no jokes. Why me? I managed, my mouth dry. Because you're discreet, reliable, and you owe me, for that promotion you begged for last quarter. His words landed like slaps, but there was an undercurrent, something frayed at the edges. Vulnerability? From Elias Voss. Impossible. 20,000. Wired to your account upon arrival. Play the part, Harper. Convince them we're together. Soulmates, if it comes to that. Soulmates. The word hung there, absurdly romantic against the sterile backdrop of our boss-employee dynamic. I thought of the office holiday party last year, how he'd lingered by the punch bowl, watching me laugh with the interns, his gaze lingering a beat too long before he turned away. Or the late-night debug sessions, his cologne, cedar, and smoke, lingering in the conference room long after he'd gone. Coincidence, I told myself. Power plays. But now this desperation disguised as a directive. I should have said no, hung up and blocked his number, let the rain wash away the what-ifs. But 20 grand could fix the stack of medical bills from mom's chemo last year, the ones I'd been chipping at with ramen dinners and freelance gigs. And beneath the pragmatism, a treacherous spark. What if this cracked the ice around him? What if, in the glow of wedding lights, Elias Voss let slip the man behind the mask? Fine, I said, the word tasting like surrender. But ground rules. No touching unless necessary. And when it's over, it's over. No weirdness back at the office. Agreed. A ghost of relief in his exhale. Wheels up Friday. I'll text the itinerary. The line went dead, leaving me in the dim glow of my phone screen, staring at the rain-streaked window. Seattle's skyline twinkled mockingly, all glass towers and forgotten dreams. I pulled up flights to Portland, Maine, closest airport to Ridge Valley, that postcard-perfect town of lobster shacks and autumn leaves Elias had mentioned once in passing, his voice softening like he'd tasted homesickness. I'd Googled it once, late at night. A coastal hamlet where families like the Vosses had roots tangled deep as the pines, old money wrapped in New England restraint. Elias's sister, Lila, was marrying some Wall Street hotshot named Beckett Hale. The wedding was black tie, oceanfront, the kind where trust funds whispered and scandals simmered under crystal chandeliers. By morning, my inbox held the details. First-class seats, a suite at the Cliffside Inn, a rented Tesla for the drive from the airport. Extravagance that made my thrift store suits feel like rags. I packed light, a charcoal blazer, slacks that actually fit, the one-time mom had bought me before she passed, silk the color of Puget Sound at twilight. As I zipped the duffel, doubt gnawed. What was I walking into? A farce? Sure, but Elias's family. His iron-fisted father, Harlan Voss, the shipping magnate who'd built an empire on Atlantic trade routes. His mother, Evelyn, the society queen with a smile like spun sugar over steel, would see through it in a heartbeat. And Lila, the golden child, blissfully unaware. The flight was a blur of turbulence and turbulence of the mind. Elias met me at Seattle-Tacoma, looking every inch the executive in a wool overcoat, briefcase in hand like a shield. No greeting, just a nod toward the gate. We boarded in silence, the cabin pressurizing around us like a confessional. Midway over the Rockies, as flight attendants dimmed the lights, he finally spoke. "Thank you, Aiden. It's complicated." I glanced over, the shadows carving hollows under his eyes. Complicated how? He stared at the clouds, jaw tight. Family expectations. They've been on me since Dad's retirement party last spring. Settle down, Elias. Find your match. As if love's a merger. A bitter twist to his mouth. I'm not. To them. It's easier this way. The admission landed soft, seismic. Elias Voss, the man who'd fired 3 execs for inefficiency last month, was in the closet? To his own blood? I nodded, throat tight, remembering my own coming out at 22. Mom's quiet hug in our kitchen, the one that said she'd always known. "We'll sell it," I said, forcing lightness. Hand-holding optional. His gaze met mine then, sharp and searching, holding a fraction too long. Heat flushed my neck. I looked away, pretending to nap, but sleep evaded, my mind replaying the moment. The faint crinkle of his eyes, almost a smile. Dangerous territory. By the time we touched down in Portland, the autumn air crisp with salt and pine, I was equal parts resolve and ruin. The drive to Ridge Valley wound through fiery maples and granite cliffs, the Atlantic crashing below like applause for our charade. Elias drove, hands steady on the wheel, narrating in clipped tones. The family estate on Bluff Road, a sprawling Victorian with gables like prayers. The rehearsal dinner at the yacht club. Lila's insistence on rustic elegance that meant heirloom china and string quartets. I listened, committing details to memory. My role scripted, devoted boyfriend, software engineer with a promising future at Vostech. No mentions of my student loans or the foster homes that dotted my childhood like scars. We arrived at the Cliffside Inn as dusk bled into indigo, the inn a lantern-lit haven perched on cliffs where waves whispered secrets to the shore. Check-in was seamless. Our suite, a corner room with a 4-poster bed and fireplace, screamed intimacy. 1 bed. My stomach flipped. "I booked what was available," Elias muttered, dropping his bag. "Couch is yours." I waved it off, unpacking with feigned nonchalance. "Suits me. More room for my dramatic size." A ghost of amusement flickered. "Rehearsal in an hour. Wear the tie." The yacht club glittered across the bay, fairy lights strung like stars against the harbor's ink. Lila met us at the door, a whirlwind of auburn curls and freckles, her sundress swirling as she enveloped Elias in a hug. "Brother dearest, and this must be Aiden. Oh, he's gorgeous." Her eyes sparkled, appraising, approving. I shook her hand, murmuring pleasantries, my palm clammy against hers. Harlan Voss loomed next, a bear of a man with a handshake like a vice, his gaze raking me over. "Seattle boy, eh? Elias says you're sharp. Tech's the future." Evelyn followed, pearls gleaming, her smile warm but probing. "Darling, tell us everything. How did you two meet?" Elias's hand brushed my lower back. "Necessary," he mouthed later, a spark that jolted straight to my core. "Coffee shop glitch," he said smoothly. Aiden fixed my laptop. One thing led to another. Laughter rippled, easy as tidewater. Beckett, Lila's fiancé, clapped my shoulder, all Ivy League charm. "Welcome to the madhouse, man." Cocktails flowed, gin and tonics sharp with lime. And I played my part, weaving tales of late-night coding marathons that doubled as dates. Elias chimed in seamlessly, his arms slung casual around my chair, fingers drumming a rhythm that set my pulse racing. By dessert, lobster bisque and lemon tarts, the facade felt less like acting. His thigh pressed mine under the table, accidental or not, and when Lila raised a toast to found families. His eyes found mine across the rim of his glass, something raw flickering there. Gratitude? Or the first fracture in the ice? Back at the inn, the fire crackled as we shed jackets, the room shrinking around us. "You were perfect," he said, pouring scotch from the minibar. "They bought it." I accepted the glass, the amber liquid burning down. "Almost too well. Your mom's already planning grandkids." A chuckle, low and unguarded. "She would." He sank onto the bed's edge, loosening his tie. "Aiden, why'd you say yes?" "Really?" The question hung, intimate as the firelight on his skin. I hesitated, scotch warming my veins. "The money. And curiosity. About you. The real you." His breath caught, eyes darkening. For a heartbeat, the air thickened, charged. Then he stood, abrupt. "Get some rest. Big day tomorrow." He retreated to the bathroom, door clicking shut. I stripped to boxers, curling on the couch, the fire's glow mocking my racing heart. Fake it till you make it, they say. But as waves crashed below, I wondered, what if we'd already crossed the line? Dawn broke over Ridge Valley like a hesitant lover, pink and gold bleeding into the fog that clung to the cliffs. I woke to the scent of coffee and sea salt, Elias already dressed in a crisp button-down, scrolling his phone by the window. His profile was sharp against the light, strong nose, faint stubble shadowing his jaw, like a photograph from a life he hadn't chosen. "Morning," he said without looking up. "Boat leaves at 9 for the rehearsal sale." I mumbled assent, rubbing sleep from my eyes, the couch's lumps a reminder of boundaries. The suite felt smaller in daylight, the king bed mocking our separate orbits. Showering quickly, I emerged to find him packing a small cooler, oysters on ice, champagne flutes etched with Lila's monogram, touches of care that humanized him, chipping at the boss facade. The sail was Lila's whim, a private charter on the Harbor Grace, a sleek sloop cutting through the bay's glassy calm. Family boarded in a flurry, Harlan barking orders at the crew, Evelyn fussing over Lila's veil, Beckett nursing a mimosa with easy grace. We cast off, sails billowing like wedding gowns, the wind carrying laughter and the tang of brine. Elias and I stood at the rail, shoulders brushing as the boat heeled. "Hold on," he murmured, his hand steadying my elbow as spray misted our faces. It was the first real touch, unscripted, and it lingered, a warm anchor in the chill. Lila sidled up, wind-tousled and radiant. "You two are adorable. Spill. When's the proposal?" Elias stiffened beside me, but I leaned in, conspiratorial. "He's a tough nut, Lila, but I'm wearing him down. Maybe after the merger closes." Winks and groans followed. Even Harlan cracked a smile, clapping Elias on the back. "Smart man. Don't let him slip, boy." As the morning wore on, we furled sails and anchored in a cove, the water turquoise and teasing. Oysters shucked on deck, champagne popped with corks like gunfire. I watched Elias loosen, joking with Beckett about Harvard horror stories, his laugh a rare, rumbling thing that vibrated through me. When Harlan pulled him aside for a hushed talk, heads bent, voices low, I caught fragments. "Legacy. Expectations. Don't embarrass us." Elias's nod was wooden, his eyes distant as he returned, pouring me a refill. "You okay?" I asked low as we clinked glasses. "Fine," but his grip tightened on the flute, knuckles paling. "Just dad being dad." The rehearsal proper unfolded on the estate's lawns that afternoon, the Victorian manse rising like a sentinel from manicured hedges and wild rose arbors. White tents fluttered, florists weaving garlands of hydrangeas and eucalyptus. Lila directed with bridal fervor, positioning us, ushers, groomsmen, in a mock procession down an aisle carpeted in sea glass. Elias was best man. His toast scripted on note cards tucked in his pocket. Heartfelt, brotherly, laced with inside jokes about childhood forts and stolen blueberry pies. I stood with the guests, Evelyn linking her arm through mine. He's different with you, Aiden. Softer. It's lovely. Her words warmed, but unease stirred. Softness implied change, and change meant cracks in the armor we'd built. Dinner followed in the conservatory, crystal and candlelight, courses of seared scallops and heirloom tomato salads. Toasts flowed. Beckett's wry humor, Harlan's gruff pride. When Lila turned to us, "To Elias and Aiden, may your love be as endless as this coast." The table erupted, glasses raised. Elias's hand found mine under the cloth, squeezing once. Firm. Electric. Night fell soft, stars pricking the velvet sky as we drove back to the inn. Silence companionable now, radio humming indie folk. Bon Iver's ache mirroring the pull in my chest. "That went well," Elias said finally, tires humming over damp asphalt. "Yeah, your family's intense, but kind." A huff. "They mean well. Mostly." He glanced over, dashboard glow gilding his features. "You handled them like a pro. Harlan doesn't warm to anyone." Pride swelled, unbidden. Years of schmoozing clients in Seattle dive bars. Builds character. He smiled then, genuine, fleeting, and my breath hitched. The inn's lights beckoned, but neither moved to exit the car. Rain pattered the roof, a curtain against the world. "Aiden," he started, voice rough. "This pretense, the stirring things, memories. Tell me." The words escaped before caution caught them. He exhaled, staring at the Wipers Arc College. Dartmouth. There was a guy, Finn. Lacrosse player, all fire and no filter. We were close, too close. Dad found out, shipped me to Europe for a semester abroad. Haven't spoken to anyone like that since. His laugh was hollow. Voss men don't bend, they build. The confession cracked something in me. Empathy, anger, a fierce protectiveness. "That's bullshit, Elias. You're not a monument. You're allowed to want." His eyes met mine, stormy. "And if wanting means losing everything?" The question lingered, unanswered, as we climbed the stairs to the suite. Fire relit, scotch poured. We sat cross-legged on the rug, knees inches apart. Stories spilled then. Mine of Foster hops from Tacoma to Spokane, learning code on library computers to escape the chaos. His of boarding school winters in Andover, Harlan's shadow long as the Hudson. Laughter mingled with silences, the scotch blurring edges. When our hands brushed reaching for the bottle, neither pulled away. His fingers laced mine, tentative, thumb tracing my knuckle. Heat bloomed, slow and inevitable. "This is dangerous," he whispered, but leaned closer, breath mingling. "Dangerous is living half a life," I countered, heart thundering. Our lips met, soft at first, exploratory, then deepening with the hunger of dammed rivers. His mouth tasted of scotch and salt, hands framing my face as if I might vanish. We tumbled to the rug, shirts shedding like inhibitions, his body solid and warm against mine. Exploration followed, kisses trailing collarbones, gasps echoing the waves below. It was tender, urgent, the line between fake and real dissolving in the fire's glow. After, tangled in sheets on the bed, couch forgotten, he traced patterns on my chest. What now? Now? We survive the wedding, then figure it out. Sleep claimed us entwined, but dawn brought reality's chill. Elias rose early, coffee brewing as he paced. "Last night was real," I finished, sitting up, "but the family's watching. We play it cool." Nod. Relief. A stolen kiss before dressing for the day. The ceremony loomed, tense, transforming the estate into a dreamscape. Aisles of white roses, arches draped in tulle, the ocean's chorus as soundtrack. Guests arrived in waves, cousins from Boston, aunts with pearls and pedigrees. milling under gray skies threatening rain. I adjusted my tie in the mirror, nerves jangling. Elias appeared behind me, fastening cufflinks, our reflections overlapping. "You look good, Harper. Call me Aiden." A grin. Boyfriend privileges. His hand on my shoulder, squeeze. "Aiden." The processional began, strings swelling as Lila glided down, radiant in ivory lace. Vows exchanged, poetic, promising, tears glistening on Evelyn's cheeks. Elias's toast followed, voice steady but eyes finding mine in the crowd. "To love that defies storms. May it anchor you, Lila, as it has me." Applause thundered. Harlan's nod to me was almost fond. Reception blurred into magic. Dances under lanterns, cakes sliced with saber flare. Elias pulled me onto the floor for the slow set, bodies close, his whisper hot against my ear. "They think we're soulmates. Maybe they're right." My heart soared, but shadows lurked. Across the tent, Harlan watched, brow furrowed, murmuring to Evelyn. A cousin, Wyatt, boisterous with bourbon, clapped Elias's back too hard, slurring, "Finally settling down, huh? 'Bout time you picked a winner." Laughter, but Elias tensed. As night deepened, fireworks burst over the bay, colors fracturing the dark. We slipped away to the cliffs, hands linked, the boom echoing our pulse. "I could get used to this," I said, head on his shoulder. "Me too." His arm tightened, but in his eyes, a flicker, fear? Foresight? We returned to cheers, but the mood had shifted subtle. Glances lingering, whispers behind fans. Lila hugged me fierce. "Thank you for making him happy. He deserves it." Guilt twisted, half-truths piling like driftwood. Bed that night was sanctuary, bodies seeking solace in rhythm and release. But as Elias slept, breath even, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling beams. Soulmates? Or a shipwreck waiting? Morning brought hangover haze and the post-wedding brunch, mimosas and frittatas on the veranda. Harlan cornered Elias by the railing, voices rising on the wind. "Who's this Harper really?" Background check came clean, but fragments, damning. Elias's face paled as he returned. "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. The charade was fraying, threads pulling loose. The brunch dragged under a sky heavy with unshed rain, the veranda's wicker furniture creaking like old bones. Sunlight slanted through the maples, gilding the silverware and the tension coiling in my gut. Elias sat beside me, fork pushing eggs around his plate, his knee pressed to mine in silent Morse code. "Stay calm." Harlan's words echoed in my skull. Background check. A casual bomb dropped into our fragile peace. How deep had they dug? My foster records, the petty theft at 16 to buy mom groceries? Or worse, the grinder history that painted me as transient, unworthy? Lila flitted between tables, glowing in post-honeymoon haze, oblivious to the undercurrents. "Aiden, you must visit more. Elias never brings anyone home." Her enthusiasm was a knife, kind, but slicing through the lie. Evelyn chimed in, passing scones. "Indeed, you two are a breath of fresh air. So grounded after Elias's phase in the city." Phase. The word landed like frost, implying my presence was a cure for some urban malaise. Elias's jaw ticked. He squeezed my hand under the tablecloth, a lifeline. "Mom, Aiden's the best thing Seattle's thrown my way." Warmth bloomed, but suspicion shadowed Harlan's gaze across the spread. He nursed black coffee, eyes like harbor buoys, watchful, unblinking. Beckett, ever the peacemaker, steered talk to football, drawing laughs. But the air hummed electric, charged with unspoken audits. We escaped mid-morning, pleading jet lag, piling into the Tesla for the drive back to Portland. Rain finally broke, sheets sheeting the windshield, wipers slashing frantic. Elias gripped the wheel white-knuckled, silence thick as the fog rolling in from the sea. "He hired a PI, he said finally, voice flat. "Standard for Voss in-laws. Found your basics, nothing damning." But if they push. I stared at the blurred pines whipping past. Then what? We come clean? Surprise, it was all for show? A muscle leaped in his cheek. No, we double down, till we're back in Seattle. Then, reassess. Reassess. Clinical word for the ache blooming in my chest. The one that whispered this wasn't just pretend anymore. Last night's intimacies replayed. His fingers mapping my spine, murmurs of my name like prayer. Elias, your family, they see us as this perfect couple. What happens when the mask slips? When they learn I'm not some tech wunderkind, just a guy scraping by. He glanced over, eyes softening. You're more than that. To me. The admission hung, vulnerable, pulling me under. His hand left the gearshift, finding my thigh, squeeze, promise. Heat flared, but so did fear. Of losing this fragile us, of returning to cubicles and cold stares. Portland Airport loomed, a glass cathedral to departures. Check-in was swift. We boarded early, settling into first-class pods that cocooned us from the world. As the plane taxied, Elias's fingers laced mine, thumbs stroking absently. Tell me something true, he said, voice low against the Engine's whine. I hesitated, the altitude amplifying honesty. I came out to Mom on her deathbed. She smiled, said, Baby, love whoever lights your fire. Just don't let it burn you out. Tears pricked. I blinked them back. Your turn. He exhaled slow. Finn didn't just break my heart. He outed me to the team, the frat. Dad's semester was damage control. I've been frozen since. The words bridged us, raw and real. Turbulence hit then, the plane bucking like a spooked horse. I gripped his hand tighter, laughter bubbling through nerves. See? Even the skies know we're a mess. By wheels down in Seattle, the rain had relented to mist, the city welcoming us with Emerald City glow. Our goodbye at baggage claim was perfunctory, boss and employee resuming roles. But his text buzzed as I drove home. Dinner tonight? My place. No pretenses. My apartment felt smaller upon return, the leaky faucet mocking the luxury we'd left behind. I showered off travel grit, nerves jangling like loose change. Elias's address led to Queen and Hill, a modernist condo with views of the Sound that screamed success. He answered in jeans and Henley, sleeves pushed to elbows, a far cry from the suit. Come in. Wines breathing. The space was sparse. Leather sectional, abstract prints in grays and blues, a turntable spinning Coltrane's sax like smoke. We ate takeout Thai on the balcony, city lights sprawling below, conversation meandering from work gripes to childhood haunts. Ridge Valley's got this beach, he said, chopsticks pausing. Driftwood forts at low tide. Lila and I built empires there, till the waves claimed them. Sounds magical. Envy tinged my words. My beaches were Puget Sound pebbles, skipped stones for wishes unfulfilled. It was. His gaze held mine intent. We should go back. For real. After this blows over. The invitation thrilled, terrified. Dessert was gelato from the corner shop, spoons clinking as stories deepened. By 10, we migrated inside, the turntable now low with Fleet Fox's harmonies. His kiss caught me mid-laugh, slow and sure, backing me against the bookshelf. Books tumbled, Kerouac and Capote scattering like confetti, as we shed layers, bodies familiar now, mapping new territories. His hands, calloused from gym weights, traced ribs and hips with reverence. My fingers tangled in his hair, pulling him closer, chasing the heat that drowned doubt. We collapsed onto the rug, spent and sated, his head on my chest. This scares me, he admitted, voice muffled. Wanting you like this. Me too. Honesty, bare. But running's what got us here. Sleep came tangled, waking to coffee and croissants he'd fetched. Monday loomed, back to Vostek, where we'd navigate the tightrope of professional distance. He dropped me at my building, kiss lingering at the curb. Text me when you're settled. The office buzzed normalcy. Keyboards clacking, interns fetching lattes. Elias's door was ajar, His nod as I passed neutral, but his email pinged mid-morning. Lunch? Usual spot. The rooftop cafe overlooked the market, our corner booth private. Sandwiches half-eaten, his foot hooked mine under the table. Survived the flight home questions? Barely. Lila FaceTimed. Spill the deets on the proposal timeline. I rolled eyes, but warmth spread. You? Dad's mellowing. Thinks you're good stock. Air quotes, right. Wants us at Thanksgiving. The future crept in, tangible. Exhilaration warred with warning. Harlan's PI wasn't idle. A wrong move, and the house of cards tumbled. Weeks blurred into rhythm. Nights at his place or mine. Mornings stolen before commutes. Seattle softened us. Walks in Discovery Park. Fog-veiling kisses. Dinners at Pike Place. Oysters slurped with abandon. He opened stories of boardroom battles. The loneliness of the penthouse. I shared scars. The foster dad who drank, the code boot camp that saved me. Love bloomed quiet, roots digging deep. But fissures formed. A late meeting, Elias snapping at a junior dev, echoes of the old ice. Stress, he explained later, apologies in touches. Then Lila's call, Mom's planning a family cruise. You two in. Elias paled, promising to check calendars. That night, lovemaking edged desperate, his grip bruising, as if anchoring against tide. The crack widened mid-October, rain lashing the city like judgment. I arrived at work to whispers, HR memo on fraternization policies. Eyes darting to Elias's office. He summoned me end of day, door shut, blinds drawn. Harlan knows. My blood iced. How? Wyatt. Overheard at the wedding, pieced it together. Confronted Dad. His face ashen. They're coming here, tomorrow, to meet you properly. And assess. Assess. The word curdled. So we tell them the truth? No. Vehement. Not yet. We sell it harder. Prove we're real. Desperation laced his plea, but doubt gnawed. Elias, this isn't a pitch deck. It's our lives. I know. He crossed to me, hands cupping my face. Trust me, please. I nodded, but as I left, the elevator's descent mirrored my sinking. Trust? Yes, but at what cost? Harlan and Evelyn arrived at noon. The boardroom commandeered for family lunch. Catering trays of salmon and salads mocked the Inquisition. Harlan led, direct. Aiden, solid resume. But Vassas protect their own. What's your angle? Angle? I echoed, fork pausing. Evelyn softer. We just want Elias happy, after past mistakes. Finn's ghost, unnamed. Elias interjected, arm around my chair. He's it, Dad. End of story. Grilling followed, finances, vague, future plans, babies, adoption talk skirted. They left with hugs. Evelyn's were thrilled, ringing hollow. But Harlan's parting grip on Elias's shoulder. Don't fuck this up, son. Relief crashed post-departure. We retreated to his condo, wine flowing to numb. We did it, he toasted, but his eyes shadowed. Did we? I pressed, curling against him. Or just delayed the storm? His kiss silenced, fierce. But in the quiet after, as rain drummed, I felt the shift. Love deepening, danger closing in. November's grip tightened on Seattle, leaves carpeting the sidewalks in sodden crimson, the air biting with promises of winter. Elias and I navigated the aftershocks of the family lunch like tightrope walkers, publicly seamless, privately fraying. Office days blurred into stolen glances across conference tables, his emails laced with double meanings. Q3 projections attached. Dinner after? Nights were ours. Cocooned in his queen and perch or my Capitol Hill nook, bodies and breaths intertwining until dawn teased the curtains. But Harlan's shadow loomed. Calls increased. Evelyn's holiday planning chats veering to rings and registries. Lila's texts peppered with heart emojis. When's the visit? Elias fielded them with practiced ease, but tension etched lines around his eyes. Sleep elusive. They're testing us, he confessed one evening, pacing his living room as vinyl crackled with Nick Drake's melancholy strum. Dad's always one step ahead. I pulled him down beside me, hands framing his face. Then we outmaneuver. Show them we're solid. But doubt whispered. Solid as what? A contract? A crush turned compulsion? Love? I amended silently, the word heavy as the fog rolling in from the sound. Thanksgiving loomed, Harlan's edict, the family estate, full roster. No excuses, Elias relayed over breakfast. Avocado toast in his sunlit kitchen. Flights booked. We'll fly out Wednesday. Play the doting couple. Excitement warred with dread. Ridge Valley called again, its cliffs and crashing waves now laced with memory. Our first kiss by the fire, confessions on the rug. But return meant scrutiny, the PI's ghost hovering. I packed deliberate. Slacks that hugged, a sweater soft as his touch, the tie from Mom like talisman. The flight east was turbulence-free, skies clear as glass over the Appalachians. Portland's chill welcomed us. Rental SUV crunching gravel to the estate. Snow dusted the pines, the Victorian aglow with wreaths and lanterns. Smoke curling from chimneys like beckoning fingers. Lila and Beckett greeted us on the porch, fresh from their honeymoon glow. Her curls wild, his arm possessive. The lovebirds return. Lila squealed, hugs enveloping. Inside, the house enveloped in scents of sage and cinnamon. The grand hall strung with garlands. Harlan clapped Elias's back, grip lingering. Good to see you, son. Aiden. Nod to me, appraising but warmer. Progress? Evelyn orchestrated from the kitchen, apron-dusted flour, pulling me into pie assembly. Tell me, dear, how's the city treating you too? Busy, I said, crimping crust. But good. Elias keeps me on my toes. Her laugh tinkled. He always has, stubborn as the sea. Pause, ice keen. But you soften him. It's a gift. Warmth spread, but so did unease. Gifts implied value, and values could be revoked. Dinner unfolded in the dining room, fire roaring, table groaning under turkey and fixings. Toast circled, Harlan's gruff to enduring bonds, Lila's teasing of baby moons. Elias's hand found mine under the damask, thumb circling, anchor. Stories flowed, Beckett's Wall Street war tales, my sanitized Seattle adventures. Laughter bridged gaps, but Harlan's gaze lingered on our joined hands, thoughtful. Post-feast, we scattered. Men to brandy by the hearth, women to dishes and gossip. Elias drew me aside to the library, shelves groaning with leather bounds, the air musty with history. You're killing it, he murmured, backing me against a globe, kiss claiming. Heat flared quick, hands roaming, but footsteps echoed, Wyatt, boisterous cousin, bursting in with cigars. Whoa, get a room, you two. Blush heated my neck. Elias chuckled, disentangling smooth. Jealous? Cuz. Wyatt's grin faltered, eyes flicking between us. Nah, just didn't peg you for the settling type, L. The words hung, barbed subtle. Finn's echo? Or intuition? Night fell early, rooms assigned in the east wing, our suite with sleigh bed and sea views, waves murmuring below. We made love slow, reverent, his body arching under mine like a wave cresting. Whispers followed. I love you, he breathed, first time voiced, shattering me. Love you too, I returned, tears salting our skin. Morning brought frost-laced windows, breakfast in the solarium, pancakes and politics, Harlan dominating on trade tariffs. But his aside to me, low, Elias speaks highly, says you're integral at the firm. Pride swelled, untainted. The day unfolded in tradition. Turkey leftovers for lunch, then the beach walk, boots crunching snow-dusted sand, breaths fogging. Family strung out, Lila linking arms with Evelyn, Beckett tossing a football to Wyatt. Elias and I lagged, hands swinging, mittens hiding fingers laced. This feels real, I said, head on his shoulder. It is. His kiss to my temple soft. But Harlan doubled back, falling in step. Son. A word. They veered toward driftwood, heads bent. I watched from afar, heart pounding. Confrontation? When Elias returned alone, face stormy, Harlan clapped my shoulder. Walk with me, Aiden. We paced the tittle-line, waves gnawing shells. Elias is my legacy, he started, voice gravel. Built Voss on grit, not whims. This arrangement. Pause, eyes boring. It's convenient, but love, that's the anchor. You him. The question gutted. Did he know? We're suspect. More than convenient, I said, steady. He's my harbor. A grunt, almost approval. Good, because if you hurt him, unspoken threat hung, paternal fierce. Relief crashed as he nodded, striding back. Elias waited, brow furrowed. What did he say? Threats and blessings. I grinned, but unease lingered. How close to the edge? Afternoon brought games. Charades in the parlor, laughter echoing off rafters. Elias's team won, his impressions of Harlan eliciting howls. Dinner was fondue by firelight, dips and dips into memory. Childhood Thanksgivings, Lila's first crush. Vulnerability circled. Wyatt's eyes on Elias sharpened, probing. Bed that night, Elias paced post-love. Dad suspects something. Not the fake, something deeper. Like my past. Voice low. Thin. He asked if I'd learned my lesson. Rage flared. That's not love. That's control. He sank beside me, head in hands. It's all I know. My arms encircled, holding against the storm. Friday dawn, departure day. Hugs protracted at the door. Evelyn's, come for Christmas. Lila's, ring by spring. Elias promised, vague, Tesla idling. Airport bound. Silence heavy. We survived, he said, hand on my knee. Barely, but his squeeze affirmed. Together. Back in Seattle, the city swallowed us. Work deadlines, holiday lights twinkling premature. Our rhythm resumed, deepened. Surprise lunches, weekend hikes in the Olympics, fog veiling intimacies. Love solidified, words exchanged casual now. I love you over coffee, after sex, in passing. But December crept, Christmas invite looming. Elias dodged, citing projects. But Harlan persisted, voicemails curt. Evelyn's emails pleading. New Year's Eve, his place. Champagne at midnight, bodies slick under confetti snow from the balcony. Let's elope, he joked, nuzzling my neck. Vegas. No families. Tempting. Deal. But first, survive the holidays. The call came January 3rd. Elias's phone shattering our post-gym haze. Harlan, voice tinny. We're in Seattle. Dinner. Your place. 8 sharp. Panic flashed. Now? Why? Family matter. Bring Aiden. Click. We scrambled. Caterers for Oso Buco, wine decanting, condo spotless. They arrived prompt, coats shedding snowflakes, faces grave. Harlan led to the table, Evelyn's smile strained. Lovely home, dear. Dinner tense. Small talk on markets, weather. Then Harlan. We've concerns. About you too. Elias paled. Dad. Wyatt talked. Wedding whispers. The PI confirmed. You hired Aiden. Fake. The word exploded. Shrapnel. Silence imploded. Evelyn's gasp, my fork clattering. Elias's voice broke. It started that way, but it's real now. Harlan's laugh, bitter. Real? Like your Dartmouth fling? We cleaned that up. Won't again. Words flew, Elias defending, me silent witness. I love him, Elias roared, chair scraping. That's not fake. Harlan rose, thunderous. Love doesn't pay dividends. Marry proper or lose the company. Door slammed, Evelyn trailing apologies. We stood shattered, shards of plates and promises. Elias crumpled, sobs racking. I held him, rocking. We'll fight. But his whisper, can we? The betrayal stung, not Harlan's, but the lie's genesis, now weaponized. The echo of that slammed door reverberated through the condo for days, a ghost rattling the windows as Seattle hunkered under January's slate skies. Elias withdrew into himself, the man who'd once thawed under my touch now a fortress of flannel and takeout containers. His eyes hollow as the sound at low tide. Work became battlefield. Meetings where his directives snapped like frost, emails curt. My cubicle a no-man's land. Space, he muttered one morning in the elevator, avoiding my gaze. To think. Space. The word carved hollows in me. Nights spent pacing my apartment. Rain lashing like accusations. I'd scroll old texts. Love you, harbor. Wondering where we'd veered. Harlan's ultimatum hung. Marry proper or forfeit Vostek. The empire Elias had clawed into relevance. Legacy versus love. Blood versus us. Lila called midweek, voice tentative over the line's hum. Aiden? What the hell happened? Dad's radio silent. Mom's baking pies like the world's ending. I hedged, scripting half-truths. Rough patch. Family stuff. Her sigh carried weight. He's always been Dad's shadow. But you lit him up. Don't let go. Her words anchored, but doubt eroded. I texted Elias. Coffee? Neutral ground. Hours passed. Dots danced. Then busy. Later stretched to limbo. I threw into work, code refactoring till eyes burned, gym sessions pounding out frustration on treadmills overlooking the bay. Friends noticed. Tyler from boot camp, beers at the alibi room, his brow furrowed. Dude, you look wrecked. Boss troubles? Worse. Confession spilled, the fake, the fall, the fracture. Tyler whistled low. High drama. But if it's real, fight dirty. Fight. The word ignited. Friday dusk. I showed at his door, uninvited, takeout bags swinging. He answered in sweats, stubble shadowing, surprise softening to surrender. Aiden. Ty. And talk. I pushed past, plates unfolding on the coffee table, spring rolls steaming. He sank beside me, fork prodding pad CEW. I'm sorry. It's dismantling me. Tell me how. Gentle probe. Words tumbled. Harlan's calls. Threats veiled as advice. Bored whispers of instability. The weight of expectation since boyhood. Voss name a yoke. I can't lose it all. But losing you. Voice cracked. You won't. I cupped his cheek, thumb tracing jaw. We go public. At work. Force their hand. Eyes widened. Career suicide. Or rebirth. Kiss followed, tentative then torrent, bodies remembering. We made it to the bedroom, slow unraveling. His moans a map back to us, my name a mantra against the dark. Morning brought clarity. Plans sketched over eggs. HR disclosure first, discretion promised, policies navigated. Then the board, Elias's announcement, my hand in his. They'll balk, he warned, but resolve hardened his gaze. Monday, we met HR in a glass-walled office, city sprawling below. Partners, Elias stated, my nod affirming. Forms signed, awkward congrats exchanged. Whispers rippled by lunch, interns googly-eyed, execs side-eyeing. Elias's door stayed open, my visits casual. Coffee drops, progress chats. Power shifted subtle. His smiles returned, thawing. But Harlan struck back. Tuesday Eve email blast to the board CCING Elias. Review of leadership fitness. Urgent. Panic surged. Elias forwarded. Face ashen. He's calling a vote. To oust me. Rage boiled. We counter. Go to the family. Lila first. Video call, her face filling my screen from their Brooklyn brownstone. Dad's unhinged. She fumed. Beckett nodding behind. Mom's with us. Thinks you're good for him. Wyatt's the snake. Stirring shit. Alliance formed. Lila lobbying Evelyn. Us prepping a presentation. Vosteka's growth under Elias. My contributions quantified. Soulmate cell. I quipped, but heart ached. Love reduced to metrics. The showdown convened in Boston, Voss Shipping's oak-paneled HQ. Snow swirling outside. Board assembled, suits starched, Harlan presiding like a judge. Elias presented first. Slides gleaming with revenue spikes, innovation pipelines. My vision's intact, he concluded, voice steel. Personal life's irrelevant. Harlan leaned forward, fingers steepled. Is it? When it risks scandal. My cue rising, throat dry. Scandals outdated. Love's strength. Stories wove, our meet cute. Shared dreams, metrics of synergy. Eyes glazed, but Lila's email pinged mid-pitch. Mom's on board. Literally flew in. Speaking now. Evelyn entered then, pearls clicking, commanding silence. Harlan, enough. Elias is our son, not a stock ticker. Aiden's family now. Harlan blustered, but cracks showed. Board murmurs, votes swaying. Adjourned till morning. Hotel bar that night. Elias and I nursed whiskeys. Lila and Beckett toasting via text. We might win, he whispered, hand over mine. We will, kiss sealed, hopeful. Dawn brought verdict. Harlan conceded. Gruff. Trial basis. Prove it. Handshake followed. Iron grip yielding. Relief crashed. We flew home buoyant. Seattle's lights welcoming like old friends. But victory soured quick. Wyatt's email leaked. Anonymous to media. Voss Air's sham romance exposed. Tabloids pounced. Tech tycoon's fake fiancé fiasco. Photos from the wedding surfaced. Staged smiles dissected. Stock dipped. Protests at HQ. Rainbow flags twisted into pitchforks. Elias spiraled. Meetings canceled. Condo a cave of blinds drawn. I dragged you into this, he accused one night, bottle empty. Should have ended it in Maine. Stop. I yanked the scotch away, forcing eye contact. We're in it. Together. But fractures deepened. Work sidelined me. Optics. HR cited. Paid leave sting. Friends distanced. Tyler's lay low texts faded. Isolation crept. My apartment echo chamber. Climax brewed mid-February. Valentine's blizzard blanketing the city. Elias vanished. Phone dead. Office empty. Panic clawed. I drove white-knuckled to Ridge Valley. Chains rattling. Snow devouring roads. The estate loomed dark, but lights flickered in the library. Harlan answered my knock. Face haggard. He's here. Go. Elias by the fire. Shattered. Bottle at feet. Eyes red. Aiden. Broken. What happened? Kneeling, hands searching. Dad offered the out. Full control if I end us. Sob racked. I almost took it. Betrayal lanced. Sharp. Almost. Couldn't. He pulled me close. Tears wetting my collar. You're my real legacy. Words mended. Fragile. Harlan entered. Silhouette stern. I was wrong. About everything. Apology raw, paternal. Fight for it. Both of you. We stayed the night. Mending in the guest room. Bodies healing what words couldn't. Dawn broke clear. Snow-glazed world reborn. Back in Seattle, media storm raged. But we faced it. Joint interview. Raw fakes origin. Love's evolution. Public shifted. Sympathy swells. Stock rebounding. Harlan's public nod. Proud of my son. Spring hinted, cherry blossoms tentative. Elias proposed on the ferry. Ring simple, knees on deck. Soulmates. For real. Yes. I breathed, salt wind whipping. But scars lingered. Lessons etched. Love's not linear. Families fracture and fuse. We built deliberate therapy sessions, boundaries drawn. Pride parade that June, hands high, rainbows arcing. Yet in quiet moments, Elias's whisper, thank you for staying. Always, I think, harbor to his storm. Summer unfurled over Seattle like a slow exhale, the city's perpetual drizzle yielding to sun-dappled days that coaxed us outdoors. Picnics in Gasworks Park, where rusted silos stood sentinel over Lake Union, or lazy afternoons on Alki Beach, toes buried in sand still cool from winter's grasp. Elias and I moved through this season of grace with a newfound rhythm, deliberate and deep, as if every shared glance, every brush of fingers, was a brick in the foundation we'd nearly lost. The media frenzy had ebbed to occasional tabloid blips, Voss love saga, from sham to shine. But the real work was internal, the quiet mending of trust bruised by Harlan's machinations and Wyatt's spite. We'd relocated to a craftsman bungalow in Fremont, trolls and street art nodding approval, the space a blend of his minimalism and my eclectic chaos. Leather club chairs beside thrifted bookshelves, a kitchen island scarred from impromptu pasta nights. Mornings started with coffee on the porch swing, his head on my shoulder as fairies hooted distant. This, he'd murmur, is what I fought for. Work stabilized. Elias at the helm, me promoted to lead dev, our partnership a model whispered in halls. Harlan visited once. Awkward barbecue in the yard. Ribs charred just right. You're good for him, he grunted over beers. Evelyn's nod affirming. Wyatt slunk to apology emails, ignored. Lila and Beckett announced a pregnancy over Zoom. Her grin infectious. Uncle Aiden, get practicing. Life layered joys. Adopting Milo, a scruffy mutt from the shelter, his wagging tail a daily reminder of second chances. Vacations too. Road trip down the Oregon coast, motels with neon vacancy signs, making love to the ocean's roar. A weekend in Ridge Valley, not as performers but participants. Walking the beach where Elias's forts once stood, building new ones with driftwood and dreams. But peace wasn't absence of storm. It was sailing through. Elias's nightmares returned sporadic. Finn's face morphing into Harlan's, waking sweat slick. I'd hold him then, whispers tracing spine. You're safe. We're safe. Therapy helped. Joint sessions unpacking closets and controls, his voice steadying. I choose this. Us. My own ghost stirred too. Mom's empty chair at holidays, the foster echoes of abandonment. Elias listened, patient, his hand a constant. You're not alone anymore, he'd say, and believe it I did. Fall crept golden, leaves carpeting the streets as our first anniversary neared. Maine's wedding date, irony sweet. He planned surprise. Flight to Portland, Tesla rental gleaming. Ridge Valley welcomed with harvest moon. The estate strung for a recommitment dinner. Lila's touch, Evelyn's orchestrating. Family gathered intimate. Harlan carving roast, Beckett toasting with baby bump in frame. After Cliffs called, we walked hand in hand. Waves silver under lunar glow. Milo leashed at home. 1 year, Elias said, stopping at our spot, the rug's memory site. He knelt, not with ring but words. I vow to you, Aiden Harper, harbor of my heart. Through fakes and fractures, I'll choose real. Every day. Tears blurred. I pulled him up, kissed ceiling. And I to you, Elias Voss. Storm and all, you're my shore. Love that night was worship. Slow, sacred, bodies knowing every curve, every sigh. Dawn found us tangled, world soft. Challenges lingered, human as breath. Boardroom battles tested Elias's resolve. My code crises, midnight marathons. Arguments flared. His workaholic lapses, my insecurity spikes. But makeup was art. Apologies over dawn runs. Forgiveness in shared showers. Thanksgiving brought full circle. Estate tables groaning. Harlan's toast altered. To legacies chosen, not imposed. Pride swelled, his arm around me casual, right? Winter holidays blended traditions. Mom's lax in my kitchen. Voss eggnog by their fire. Christmas morn. Gifts unwrapped. His watch engraved anchor. Mine compass rose tattoo inked fresh. Direction, he explained, fingers tracing. New Year dawned resolutions. More travel, Perhaps kids via surrogacy, dreams voiced tentative. Pride swelled, not just survival but thriving. Yet the story's heart wasn't triumph's gloss, but the grit beneath. How faking sparked truth, betrayal forged bonds, love demanded daily daring. In a world of mergers and masks, we chose vulnerability, raw, redemptive. Years later, gray threading Elias's temples, my laugh lines deepening, we'd recount to Milo Jr., adopted at 3, curls wild, and Lila's twins. The cold boss, the fake date, the family that bent. Love's not a script, Elias would say, my hand in his. It's improv. And we nailed the ending. But endings? Life's circular, waves eternal. On quiet nights, ferry deck or cliffside, we'd stand entwined, hearts synced to the tide. Soulmates, yes, forged in fire, free in the flow.